Today you see two super comfy pull-on skirts with a flat front, elasticated waistband that is super easy to sew. I'm showing you how to do that, and with a little variation that has a knit back. So it's a flat front, half yoga waistband, extremely comfortable. I've cut into my precious fabric. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and welcome to this purple capsule collection, a series I've been running on the channel for the last few days, several days in a row. I took a day off just to get a little bit of a breather, and now I'm back for the next 3 patterns. For this capsule collection, I'm sewing the 8 patterns in the new book called So Beautiful by Kennis Wong. She designs and is the owner at Itch to Stitch. Itch to Stitch is one of my favorite indie brands for patterns. These patterns are all the same quality, put into a book. 8 patterns, awesome value, and the book is on pre-order now in several places. You can find all the links down below to see the book, and I think it starts shipping the first week of December. So we have already seen 5 of the patterns here. We've seen the Mornington top and dress, has an amazing little wrap feature on the front, wrap ties. Then we saw the Taxton dolman that I made in this sheer special fabric with embroidery. Then the Prague top and dress, I made 2 tops. The original has a cold shoulder, and I showed you how to fill in the gap to have a completed sleeve so you can make the top normally if you have cold weather. Then I showed you my Carlsbad cardigans, 2 of them, 1 sleeveless, 1 long sleeve. All these pieces are all going together with the color palette, and I'm making sure that the styles also go together. And in the last video of the series, we saw the Fortuna joggers. These have a jogger style sort of tapered leg with a cuff that's really sporty, and also a wider leg pant, and that's the one I made, and I can totally wear it in a non-sporty way. So we are continuing with bottoms, and I was very excited about this pattern, the Castlepoint skirt. Not just because I love the style, I absolutely love the style, and it's because I was planning to cut into one of my most precious fabrics that I've been hoarding for years, over 10 years actually. It's been in my stash, and I finally cut it. It's right here on my lap, and I am so happy to share it with you, because you know how we get about fabric. I still have a few precious pieces of fabric in my stash from New Zealand, and they are precious because they're beautiful. They are also precious because I have a collection of fabric that I view as souvenirs as such. Wherever I go, wherever I live, wherever I travel, I live in different countries all the time. These pieces of fabric just bring back memories. My type of souvenirs are the fabrics. And that's why I always mention, you know, I brought this from here, I brought this from there, because they do have a meaning for me. So I'm super happy that I finally was able to cut into this fabric, and I'll be able to wear it now, and I really enjoy it. Let me know if you do that, because I'd love to know that I'm not alone in this type of practice. You know, we love fabric, we love collecting it, and some of this fabric gets sewn straight away, but I know some of it just stays there because it's just too precious. The Castlepoint skirt is a fake wrap skirt. The style of wrap wraps higher over one knee than on the other, and it can be either short or long. The hem at the back is slightly curved. It's a skirt that is semi-fitted at the waist and hips, and then just falls down straight. So it's not A-lined, it's not a pencil skirt that hugs your thighs or anything like that. The most comfy feature is the type of waistband that it has. Flat front, so it doesn't give you any bulk at the front, and then the waistband at the back has elastic threaded, but only in the back. So you can pull up this skirt up and down without needing to put any zippers or any types of closures, which is something that a lot of people don't like doing. And I think the aim of this book was really to have patterns that are super easy to sew. You know, you're not going to find complex techniques at all in this book whatsoever. I have been enjoying the relaxed type of sewing. It's really nice to sew basic pieces that fit really well and aren't too complex in their construction as well. Of course, there are inseam pockets in this design. I never sew the inseam pockets. Whenever I see them described, my eyes like glaze over, and I just can't see that, and I don't even look at the pattern pieces. I just don't like inseam pockets on anything. I do like proper jean pockets or slash pockets. Those pockets I like. Also patch pockets, but the ones that go on the side, like inseam pockets, I will never sew those because I just don't like them. But I know a lot of you like them, and you like having pockets in your clothes, so this is a good feature to have. Not hard to sew. The amazing thing about this design is that you can make it with any fabric you want. you know, it's not that specific. It's going to look great with any woven fabric. You can go all out and look at your stash and make this from the most flowiest fabric you want to the more structured linen, crepe, rayon, challis, cotton, I would say light denim, chambray, tencel twill, rayon twill, wool. Whatever you want is going to look amazing. And I myself have made 2 skirts in different fabrics. One that is very flowy, my precious fabric, which is a rayon jacquard. It is very drapey, very flowy. And the other one is a light denim which has 0 drape. It is very structured and they both look really good. The only thing you need to consider about your fabric choice is the wrong side of the fabric, because it will show, because the hem is not a straight hem. You'll see it on the side when you walk because it's a wrap skirt, and you'll see the back sort of portion of the skirt on the inside. Make sure that you like the wrong side because it will be seen. Although it's recommended that you use woven fabric, I would say that you can perfectly use a stretch woven, like a really light stretch denim or just bengaline, a stretch woven. You could use that as well. Just make one size smaller than what you would usually make for your body measurements. For myself and my woven versions, I made a size 14. I would make a size 12 if I wanted to make this out of a stretch denim, so that it just hugs the hip a little bit better. And actually it would look sort of the same as the 14 would look on a woven. If you made a 12 in a stretch woven, it's going to sort of look the same. The short version has a finished length of 23.5, but I think that's the length at the back. The front is shorter and the overlap makes it look shorter, and I did a lot of measurements here, and if I made it in the original length, that overlap above one of the knees would have been extremely above my knee. And it's just because of my body proportions, my length. I am a taller person than the standard that the patterns are drafted for, and I have a short torso, and then from the waist down, that's where all my length is. So I'm usually adding substantial amounts to skirts and pants, and I had to add 3 inches to my skirts. I don't intend on making the long version. I've tried to do long skirts in the past, and every time I try, I just end up not wearing them. I just don't feel me. I love the short skirts. When you look at finished garment measurements, you'll find about 2 inches of positive ease at the hips, which is a really nice amount for a woven design. I like that amount for both skirts and pants. I think it's a perfect amount for your items to look really good on the body, not loose, not tight, and be comfortable, that you can sit down and all those things. The waist finish measurement will be bigger because it's pull up. So don't worry about the waist, you just pull it up over your hips and choose your size based on your hips, basically. If you are new and you are just stumbling on this channel, in this channel I show a lot of sewing, and I have a segment that is super practical in every video called Up Close and So Personal, where I take you to my sewing space and put a camera super close. I show you all the techniques, sometimes a little bit different than instructions, but just pulling from all my sewing experience so that maybe some things can be easier, just a little bit simplified with still great results. So I'll have 2 segments of these in this video because I've made 2 skirts and I've made them a little bit different. For my special skirt, I'm showing you the basic construction and how to sew this waistband, flat front, elastic back. Let's hop into there.
Don't you think this is starting to wear on me? You've been rated down like hell. I'm weak.
These are the 2 front pieces. They overlap each other, and I've chosen to cut them with the fabric right sides up so that the highest point of the knee at the overlap is on my left knee. That's where I want it to be. That's the one that goes on the bottom, and then this one goes on the top. And I've added 3 inches to my skirt so that the overlap hits above my knee. That's a section there that has 3 extra inches. This one though, that goes on the bottom, has a quite pronounced curve there. So when you add that, there's going to be a bit of a discrepancy here on the sides. You can see right there, that was the original curve, and I've just added paper there to just complete it and smooth it out right there, so that it makes sense. Whenever you're trying to lengthen or shorten pieces that have a curve, you're going to have that discrepancy that you just need to smooth out so that it looks nice. This is one of the front pieces, the one that goes on the back, and along this whole curve, I have already pressed the hem in. I'm going to do a narrow hem, just 3/8, and I've serged the edges. I really want to avoid bulk on this type of fabric. The instructions have you fold under twice, but I'm just going to do it once. And I'm going to be hand hemming this. So I have pressed it in. I will actually hem it at the last stages, but you do need to do your hem if you are actually sewing it at this stage. This is how the top part looks. It's about 3 or 4 inches that will be sewn onto the side seam, and then the hem starts from there. So that's what I've done there. So let's pretend that the hem has been sewn. It looks like it's been sewn, it's nicely pressed, but I'll hand hem it at the very end. Then you take your other piece, the one that goes on the top, and you put it on top, and you have the side seams match here on both sides. On that side, it's just a little piece that matches on the top over there. So these side seams can be basted on together, and then the front acts like one piece. Remember, we've hemmed, but you need to leave a little piece on these sides that isn't hemmed right there, because we can finish hemming this when we sew on the back. This is the back. I have also pressed my hem up. It's a little bit curved on the back. So then we unite these, sew that, and then we can complete, after this is sewn on here, then we can complete sewing the hem on the side seams. So that's super easy to put this together. Once the skirt is together, then we do the waistband. There are inseam pockets and there are instructions for that, but I always skip the pockets and never do them. But they're not hard to do. I've got all the layers pinned for the skirt. This is the short little hip area of the front piece of the skirt that goes underneath, the one that overlaps. So I've just caught that on there. I've got 3 layers there, but then from here onwards I just have 2 layers. And at the bottom here, this is where you would have sort of hemmed up to there and up to there and left the piece unhemmed, so that this can be sewn. And then you can go ahead and fold and finish that hem. On the other side, you have 3 layers. Most of the way down up to a certain point, this is where you have a layer in the middle. The hem in that section has also been folded in. You would have sewn that if you're doing it by machine. And then from here to the bottom, this little section is only 2 layers. So we just sew this with 3/8 seam allowance. After sewing the side seams, I'm just basting the 2 fronts together because they are 2 layers all across the front. And I don't want them to wiggle around before I put on the waistband. I'm doing the waistband a little bit different. I think this way is just easier, faster. Basically, I've got the front waistband and the back waistband sewn together. The front waistband is a little bit narrower than the back one. So you can see the seam allowance is pressed in. The pattern says just to interface the front waistband and not the back one, but I have interfaced both because my fabric isn't that substantial. I just preferred to interface them both. One of the raw edges has been pressed in, as you can see, and the one that's still raw is the one I'm going to sew onto the skirt. And I'm going to sew it wrong sides to right sides. So I'm going to put this right side of the fabric against the wrong side of the skirt so that when this flips over, I can top stitch the waistband on the right side. And I'm going to leave a gap on both seam allowances there so I can put the elastic through at the back. It's really easy. Here's the skirt. This is the right side of the fabric and this is the inside of the skirt, and that's how I've pinned the waistband, right sides to wrong sides. And I've matched the side seams and I'm just going to sew around. After doing that, I'm going to flip the waistband over to the outside and then I'll be able to top stitch it down. And I'll leave a gap there on each side seam so I can pull the elastic through the back. So on the waistband, I've pressed the seam allowance up and now you just need to bring it into the front. This is the right side of the fabric, and just get that folded edge to meet that seam, just to cover it like a tiny bit, 1/8 of an inch. And you know what I like doing? I just like sewing this down with some quick hand basting, and then I can sew this on pinless. This is the side seam of the skirt and the waistband all there, and when I sew this around, I'll leave a little gap there on both. This way, when you sew, you don't need to worry that you're not catching the back. The back's already been sewn on, and you can just worry about sewing really nice and straight there. There's a side seam. These are the side seam. Side seams are there from the waistband and the skirt, and I'm going to start around there. Same when I get to the other side, so I have about a 2-inch gap. Here's the other side seams and I'll just stop around there. I won't bother back tacking because I'll do that when I finish off after the elastic is in there. Here's my piece of elastic for the back. In the pattern it tells you how much to cut. I've cut it about an inch longer just so that it's not so tight at the back, just personal preference. This is the back part of the skirt. So there's the side seam there, all the way over there is the front. And I'll just put this in through here. Push it so that it's about 3/8 further from the seam of the waistband. I'll try to sew right in the center of that waistband seam right there, and then just close this off here. This could be pretty invisible. You know, you could put the foot to stitch in the ditch, but I managed to sew right in the seam so it's not seen. And now I have this little gap open that I'm just going to close, top stitch. So that side's done. Now I just need to keep pulling the elastic through until it comes out the other side. So I've got it here, and I'll just do the exact same thing I did on the other side. Make sure the elastic is going past that seam this way about 3/8 and stitch it down. So we have an elasticated back. The elastic is caught there in that seam and in that one, and it's all closed off there, so it's super easy, super fast to do. Now my elastic is a bit floppy, so I'm going to actually top stitch this down. I'll just go stretching this to keep it like that and just sew, and probably do 1-2 rows right there. I'm stretching the waistband, but I'm not actually pushing it. I'm just letting the feed dogs do their thing. I'm just keeping this straight. And then that's done. Once it's pressed, it's going to be flatter, and skirt's done. Here is my special skirt. I know some of you confused this fabric with another chiffon fabric I used to make my Mornington dress. I'll put a picture here so you can see. And I can see how the prints can be confused because they have purple and like swirly things. But actually I hadn't cut my precious fabric yet. That was a chiffon, and this is a rayon jacquard. I've shown the fabric up close before, but I'll show you again. Look how gorgeous this is. It's got so much texture, and those little silver threads weaved through horizontally, and the inside looks like that. It's a very beautiful fabric. It's so soft and so drapey, and it's not a lightweight fabric. It's a medium weight, perfect for bottom weight. When I showed this fabric in my plans, I got a few comments saying I should make a dress or a top. I find the fabric too heavy for tops. It's just not a lightweight rayon, it's just a medium weight. I would say comparable to a rayon twill. That's the sort of weight it has. So I always knew it was going to be a skirt. I just hadn't made it for over 10 years. So I have a lengthened version, but it still hits above my knee where this overlap goes right there. I mentioned I was going to be hemming by hand just to keep the finesse really of the look of the skirt. I didn't really want to ruin it with a machine hem. And it looks so neat sewn by hand, just nothing to see at the bottom. And I've done a really tiny hem, 3/8. And it goes around like that. And you saw that you do the hem in 2 stages, like the basic hems, but leave a little bit on the side seams undone so that you can sew the side seam and then finish the hem. And that's got to do with the way that this overlaps, because this bit is in the side seam that needs to be hemmed already before being sewn into the side seam. And same as the one that's under here. There's a little short piece that comes from the back in the side seam underneath this one. That is why the hem is done in that way. Hope you understood that really well in the video. I know that thing can be a bit confusing. The hem at the bottom is a little bit curved. I've done the waistband in a little bit different manner because in the instructions it has you leave an opening here on the inside of the waistband, and that's where you thread the elastic through, and then you have to sew that in there. But I just think that the way I'm showing you is a little bit easier, so that's the way I want to show you how I do it. and I've interfaced both the front and the back just because I didn't find that this fabric was structured enough to be able to not have the interfacing at the back. I don't find it adds any bulk. I would interface the back on light fabrics like crepe, like rayon. I would for sure. On my denim version, I didn't. There you can see the top stitching that was done on the back to hold the elastic in place. And this skirt is so comfortable, and I'm just so happy to have it. So let's see how it looks with my Mornington top. You can finally see my precious fabric from New Zealand made up. This rayon type jacquard fabric that is precious to me, and I have the most beautiful skirt ever. And I've got it paired with my Mornington top. Super comfy skirt. It's not tight, it's not loose. And you can see where the crossover hits just above my knee. That's why I wanted to lengthen it, or else it would have been too high for me in my length. Most of my length is from the waist down on my body, so that's why I usually need to do major adjustments on length down on bottoms, not that much on tops. Here's a closer look. You can see how this hem overlaps, this one over the other. Super nice, little lower at the back. You can see the wrong side, as you can see at the back, so make sure your fabric is nice as well on the wrong side. I have my flat waistband here and then elastic at the back. Absolutely beautiful. I never tuck in, as you know, so these are comfort features for me. Comfiest pull-up skirt and pretty at the same time. It's not a sporty skirt for me at all. I can also throw my tungsten dolman on top for this look as well if I wanted to cover up something, or I could just wear it on its own. I think this will go with everything, and of course it goes with this Mornington top and my Castlepoint. I know I keep saying I love it, but you don't know how much. I just feel amazing. When I put this outfit today to take pictures, I didn't want to take it off. It was so nice, but I can't be dressed up like that at home. It would be a bit silly, but I can't wait to wear that outfit out just like that. The purple Mornington top and my Castlepoint skirt together. Oh, I just love it. I had mentioned in my plans that I was going to make a second Castlepoint skirt out of a sort of lightweight denim that was a grey color. It was going to be a workhorse that would go with everything and would fit perfectly into this capsule to match the tops, the cardigans. You know, up to now I've been styling some looks with a blue denim skirt, sort of a petroleum grayish denim skirt. So replace that for this one and I can have the same looks, and I finally got it made. The different thing that I did here, and I'm going to show you how, is that I kept the same front waistband, but I didn't cut out the back waistband. I did use the same pattern piece though, but I cut it out of the fabric that I used to make my yoga waistbands. In my last video, I gave you a really up close look at the fabric I've been using. It's a really heavy polyamide athletic knit that has amazing recovery. The composition of this one is 84% polyamide, 16% spandex. So it's a quite high content of spandex, which makes it like stretch and recover amazingly. That means that it will hold up the garment and not need an elastic threaded through. So it's like a 2-for-1 and it's so comfortable. So I wanted this waistband to be a flat front and at the back to be half a yoga waistband. I love it how it turned out. I have done this once before 2 years ago with another pant that I made, and I knew I wanted to do it again, and here is how you do it. For the denim skirt, I'm doing the waistband different, just to do something different because I really want to have a skirt like this. This is the front waistband. It's cut at the original length of the waistband. It'll still be a flat front waistband, but instead of cutting the back waistband from the denim, I've cut it from the same fabric I do my yoga waistbands from. So it's shorter. I've used the same pattern piece to cut this. This is the back waistband piece, and you can see how much shorter it is compared to the pattern piece, and it's because this will bring it in to replace that elastic. You know, it's gonna hold the skirt up and bring it in. So when I cut my yoga waistbands for the whole waist, I measure my waist I measure about 4 to 5 inches smaller than my waist, and I cut out my waistband. Well, that measurement, I just cut half of it, and that's what I'm going to use at the back. So for example, if your waist measures, let's just put random numbers. If your waist measures 36, you would cut a yoga waistband that's 32 inches long. And if you only want it for the back, then you would have one that's 16 inches long. So that's what I've done there. I'm basically going to sew these together and just treat it like a normal waistband. I'll sew the side seams, then fold it lengthwise and just sew it on the round. And when I get to the back part, I'll just be stretching this to match my woven back of the skirt. And then this will just bring it all in, and I won't need to thread an elastic through. You can see my waistband there has been sewn there on the side. So I've got my denim that's going to be my flat front and my heavy knit that is going to go on the back. So I've just sewn that. I've folded the waistband wrong sides together, and I have a round thing. So I've just matched it along the front. I've put this folded waistband right sides together with the skirt. Match the side seams there and there. The front is just going to be flat, and at the back I've done something different. I've got my knit waistband that's going to go at the back, and I've divided this in 4. So you can see 1/4, another, and another. Basically just divided it in half, put a pin, then divide it again. And I've done the same with the waistline of the back of the skirt. So I've also divided that in 4. And so I'll just match the pins here, and you can see the amount of excess I have of the woven skirt that I'll need to stretch this to match as I serge this together. I started sewing around the middle of the front, and now I'm reaching the side seam there. Okay, and now this is where I need to start stretching my knit waistband to match the skirt that's underneath. There's no gathers actually. You can see the woven skirt is not gathered. It's just going in because the knit waistband is shorter. So now I'll just go ahead and sew with my sewing machine while stretching this out and sew this down. Here's my second skirt. It's a little bit creased because I had it crumpled up in my lap. Oops. I think with this one you can see the features way better than with the other one that have the print. So you can see the overlap there, how that comes over the front. And this is where it wraps over one knee. My other knee will sort of be covered behind there. And with this one I did sew the hem with machine, and I used a grey top stitching thread. You know, just to make the hem look nice. Denim skirts can take a lot of top stitching, and that's the only top stitching actually that I've done. It was super easy to sew. You can see how you can see the denim there, but I don't think that denim is ugly to see when I walk around. It is denim, you know. And at the top here is a special feature. I hope you give this a go. It's not hard at all. If you've been making the yoga waistbands like I've shown you, like just measure your waist, whatever that measurement is. Take away 4 or 5 inches to have a lot of negative ease. That will keep the waistband up, and you know, it won't be tight at all. It'll be fine. Just cut the half of that and put that half on this flat front, and that's it really. See, so you can see my back waistband is sewn on. I went stretching it as I sewed on. It doesn't gather the woven fabric. It looks gathered when it brings it in, but when it's on the body, it's not bulky at all. You can't really see that, and it's so comfortable, so nice. So flat front, half a yoga waistband at the back. Very, very nice. I hope you give it a go. You will be addicted. And you know, you can use this trick on any design that's meant to be flat front, elastic back. In the inside, it's just sewn on the round and serged. Nothing different, and I've done the same with the front. Just press the seam allowance down. So that is an idea for you that is not part of the pattern officially, but totally doable. I like doing things like that. So let's see this one. I made a swap of the skirt to my denim Castlepoint. This is a very light denim grey skirt. I think a structured fabric will also work with this style. I think this style can be made with a lot of fabrics, both structured and flowy. I think it goes a long way that way because this is very structured, has absolutely no drape, and also looks really good. Closer look at the skirt. It's exactly like the other one, the same thing. I have top stitched my hem this time with my machine with top stitching thread in grey as well. I didn't really want it to make that big of an impact, and it's just got a lovely amount of ease. 2 inches of ease at the hips is perfect, and that's how that looks. Not sloppy, not loose, not tight, just perfect for a design that has no stretch. Flat waistband and a sneaky knit at the back to replace the woven waistband with elastic. It's just a knit right there, and it's so comfortable, so nice, and no one's ever gonna know it's there. I put on my Waistband cardigan just for you because I am in summer right now. I am melting with this on, but this is perfect also for spring and autumn like this. I had this outfit paired with a blue denim skirt. Now I don't have to put that in the capsule anymore because I have my grey one that will go with everything, and love the look like this. I know when I make tops and I style them with things, I always pull out denim skirts because they just go with everything. So you will be seeing this with a lot of my garments because I really love the skirt. I love how it fits, I love the feel, and I would totally make this out of a denim that stretches as well, just one size lower. I think would be perfect. I am a day late in my original plan of having daily videos. I've never done that before, and yeah, I had to take a breather one day. So the next video you'll see will be a woven dress and top. Lovely features, the Palermo top and dress. I'll put a line out here so you can see what's coming next. Also in purple, and I think I might have an interruption to the series for a video that's been planned for a little while already, and I want to keep that on the date it's meant to go live, and then you'll get the finale. So there'll be a lot of videos for you to see, and it's been fun, but I think I'll take like a few days off afterwards. I'll see you again very soon with more sewing. Bye.